Improbable runs sometimes are even more fun than when you expect it, right? When you have a good team and you expect them to go on some run, it's still fun, but it's a team when they do something you never really saw coming. And I think for the Cleveland Cavaliers, that'd be easy to do. Hey, Evan Mobley's going to be out. Darius Garland's going to be out. What did I ask for, Ryan? I said for 500 during the time that they were going to be gone, and the Cavs said, all right, Matt, we'll do you one better on that. We can do a little bit better than just 500. As this team, they're not just winning. They are decimating other NBA teams. And I know people might want to jump on all right, they're beating the Bucks without Giannis, and we'll see how that goes tomorrow night. All right, they beat the Orlando Magic on the back end of a back-to-back. I don't care, man. This team is doing things that I never thought were possible. Now, the question is, are they going to be able to keep this going? What happens when Mobley and Garland get back? But still, Cavs are back in the 4 seed. That's all I asked for. Big game tomorrow night. We'll get to all that. A nice win from last night. We heard from Andrew Barry yesterday. Some interesting tidbits from AB. Stump Mitchell on the Big Play Cleveland show last night. What did we tell you? What did we tell you? Nick asked for the clip, folks. Yesterday, literally, I'm promoting that Stump. I can't say it yet, but that he's going to be on the show, and Stump was standing right there while Ryan said the word Stump Mitchell. So he was on Big Play Cleveland last night. Browns going back down to Alabama. Everybody from Alabama's coming up to Ohio. But don't steal my tweet. But that's all right. We got Browns to get to. We got Andrew Barry. We got your favorite soup in the bracket. We got 2 for Tuesday. Timeout morning update. We got it all for you right here on Big Play. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am Matt Fontana. He is Ryan Tyler. Good morning. Happy to have alongside. Dude, be careful this morning. Holy, I almost hit somebody.
Really? My trek was pretty easy.
So, leaving my son's daycare, and I don't know if this guy's watching or listening, he was running, and I understand people need to get their exercise. Did you ever think today might not be a good day to run? So, leaving my son's school, the parking lot is a bit of a downhill, and I'm pulling out. I see the guy. I hit my brakes. Guess what I don't do, Ryan? Stop. And then the guy looks at me. He flipped me the bird. And I go, are you serious? You are out running when there is ice First off, how that guy didn't fall. He's running in the street. And I saw you and I tried to stop. What do you want me to do? I didn't hit him, though. So be careful. In a way, the ice will be a part of our 2 for Tuesday, our second one, which we'll get to coming up in a little bit. We'll get to some Browns. Really a lot of Andrew Barry a little bit later in the show, but we got to start with the Cavs. Well done, Let. Do we get a credit from Tipico? Because our boost was going to cash, but it didn't get posted.
Yeah,
Can we get a credit for that?
We should at least get something.
Nonetheless, Cavs with a nice win. All right. I don't want to sit here and overstate it, but the thing is, you want to know one of the most incredible stats I saw? Danny Cunningham, friend of show, friend of mine.
Yeah, I saw it.
The Cavs have trailed for 26 seconds this month. 26 game seconds the Cavs have trailed this month on the way to an 8-game win streak. And yesterday, a little like the Bucks game, I get the kid to bed, I look down and I go, are we up like 22-6 again? And I know the Magic on the back end, but that is one of the things that I am going to take away from that game last night. You should have beat the Magic. You did beat them by 25. It was up to 30 for most of that game. That's what a good basketball team does. That is what, I don't want to say elite level, because, listen, I don't think the Cavs are an elite basketball team at this point. But that is what a good basketball team does. You throttle opponents that you are supposed to. Then, when I look at the Cavs' three-point shooting and the god that has been bestowed on us named Sam Merrill, where did he come from? Now, I know where he came from, all right? You know Sam Merrill's an NBA champion, by the way? He won it with the Bucks. He has a ring. And Sam, for a lot of his career, was a little time with the Bucks, and I think he spent a little time in Philly and a G League guy. And I had somebody tweet me this morning about Sam Merrill. They said that they took their son to the Charge game, which I can't wait to do, man. I can't wait to get my kid over to Wolstein to go watch Charge game. And he goes, Sam wasn't even necessarily playing there. And all of a sudden, he has come on this Cavs team and provided a crucial role, a crucial piece to this team out of nowhere. In a team that has salary cap constrictions that need to be sometimes smarter than some other teams, you found a guy in Sam Merrill that is just unconscious from behind the arc right now. And then the Cavs themselves shooting 50%. That's the other thing I love about this stretch right now. What was one of the biggest concerns that we had with the Cavs? 3-point shooting. They were not doing it well. They just were not doing it well at all. They were doing it less than they were last year, but hitting at a lesser percentage. And an NBA where everybody's shooting threes, now they've come around. This stretch has really, I don't want to say predicated on 3-point shooting, because we'll talk about Jared Allen, who set the career or team franchise record for double-doubles in a row last night. Well done, J.A. The 3-point shooting, in part, I think, because of Sam Merrill, has launched this team to a whole different level of what I think this team is. And I asked for 500, right, through this stretch. And they have gone above and beyond that. So now I start to view things a little bit differently with this team, where I asked for a first-round win. I asked them to be a top 4 seed. It'd be nice if we could beat the Knicks again, and that's how it lines up right now. You go ahead and beat the Knicks again, get that out of your mouth, and then move forward on it. Great. But now, Ryan, I start to believe. I think we'd make it a series against the Celtics or the Bucks. I don't know if I'm quite ready to say that we would win it, but I thought that there might be a little bit of a gentleman's sweep, right? They win 4-1. We get a game. Now, and I'm not just drunk off the fact that we beat the Bucks without Giannis. I'm a realist, okay? I get it. But I think that we might have something for some of the top teams in the East. And again, I don't know if I'd pick them to win a series. I'd pick them to win more than a game now. I'd pick them to win 3 or, now I would say 4 because I'd be winning it, 2 or 3 and make it a series. And it really, in my opinion, comes back to the 3-point shooting. If that is something that you can keep going, you should be able to play against anybody. Now, that's my fear. Do we go back to the cellar? Do we go back to this is just a hot shooting streak? And then it gets to our 2 for Tuesday. What's this team going to look like when Evan Mobley and Darius Garland return? There might not be as many shots for Sam Merrill. There might not be as much opportunity for Jared Allen. There might not be as much for everybody. It's just going to be this monumental shift. And we're going to post this as our first 2 for Tuesday coming up this morning. Always 2 questions, 2 answers here on a Tuesday. Are you concerned about the Cavs' flow? I couldn't think of a better word, Ryan. I'll leave it to you, the wordsmith on the show.
See what you did there?
See, Ryan's last name is Smith. Yeah. I'll leave it to you as the wordsmith on the show. Flow is what I thought of. You want to throw that in there, that's fine. Are you worried about the Cavs' flow being interrupted with the return of Evan Mobley and Darius Garland whenever they come back? Simple yes or no, because that seems to be the thing. You have had a team that has gotten into a good rhythm. They've gotten good minutes from some guys. And now you have this shift. This is going to be so big. It's not just one guy. 2 of your 4 best players are returning to a team that had been doing pretty well without him. And there's no world that I would say, all right, I don't want Darius Garland or Evan Mobley to come back. I mean, come on. But that's going to mess some things up. That's going to change some things. Now, it could go either way. They could come back and be in the situation and assimilate well, and they're right back into things, and we're a better version of what this Cavs team is right now. Or there could be some time that it's going to flow on. Okay, JB's got to figure out rotations. He's got to figure out things like this. I mean, even last night, Karis LeVert, he had that wrist sprain, he didn't have to play. These are all things, and there could be more injuries down the pipe, and I'm sure there's things you're going to have to deal with and battle with as you go through the NBA sit-out protocol and all that. There's got to, dude. The other thing I was thinking about, too, there's got to be some games that Donovan Mitchell's going to be getting off here coming up. You know, he's not playing an exorbitant amount of minutes, which is great. They're able to get out to these big leads, and then he sits a lot in the fourth quarter. He only played 30 minutes last night. That's great. I do expect a couple games coming up where, his ankle's a little sore. And the knee's a little sore here, and you sit him out. You got to play that stupid game with the NBA protocol and all that. But I wonder about full go. My mind is starting to go to the playoffs. And that's with the Cavs, when LeBron was here, that's all we cared about. Nobody ever cared about the regular season. There was a couple of big games when you would face the Warriors on Christmas, MLK Day, sure. Other than that, the vast majority of the regular season, you didn't care about because you knew you were going to make it and you knew you had LeBron. So this is different, where I still need the Cavs to see this thing through, finish in a 4 seed, which is what I'm asking. But now I am like kind of letting my mind wander on what a playoff series would look like. And it's more about this. In a playoff series, everybody should be, hopefully, at your disposal. You've got everybody for JB to play. How are we going to handle that? Is the best version of this Cavs team with Darius Garland and Evan Mobley here. And there's a way it has to work. If you're a fan of the Avengers and Endgame, right? What did Doctor Strange say? I ran this out a million odds sometimes, and there's one way that we win. Spoiler alert on how. Very tragic and sad, although he's coming back, which is weird. And by the way, shout out to Robert Downey Jr., nominated for an Oscar this morning. Those are all coming up.
For Oppenheimer?
Yeah, best supporting actor.
Yeah,
that's gonna clean up. It sounds like I hadn't seen it. It's out on streaming.
Awesome.
I need to sit down.
It's like
I've got no time for movies.
I was gonna say you definitely need to like figure out a time to sit down and really just have nothing to do. Like put your phone in the other room because it is really good.
It's a conversation for later. Do you sit down and watch all the Academy Award movies? How big of a movie fan are you? Like on a scale of 1 to 10.
Well, I try to watch all the Best Picture winners for sure.
Sure.
But it's impossible to get around everything.
We tried to do that in COVID. My wife and I sat down and pulled up the last 25 years of Oscar, like Best Picture winners. And we're like, all right, we're going to watch the ones we had. And I think we watched 2.
Do you remember which ones?
I don't even remember which ones. I don't remember which ones. We really got into stand-up comedy during COVID. We just watched a lot of comedy specials, which was fun. But we digress. We'll talk movies later. But when I think about this Cavs team, there's a way. It might be 1 out of a million, but there is one way that this team with everybody works. And I don't know how you get there. I don't know. Certainly a lot of this is going to fall on JB. And it's easy to do that because he's the head coach and you look at rotations and how people are on the floor and minutes and all that kind of stuff. The one thing I'm also going to probably ask is the players are going to have to change. Now that you've had Jared Allen set the franchise record for double-doubles consecutively, you've had Donovan Mitchell play a different way, you've had Sam Merrill play a different way, you've had Tristan Thompson, you've had all these guys have to play in a different way. I'm going to need them to have a little bit of a shift too. And I'm sorry, there is a fear that this isn't going to work. I come back with, and this sounds so negative, which I hate to do because the Cavs are rolling right now. Who have you beat? Who have you beat? You've run through this stretch here where you haven't beat the cream of the crop, sure. I think tomorrow night, if Giannis plays, which I never thought I'd say this, Ryan, I actually really hope he plays. I do.
Yeah, I do as well.
Because I want to see that. Tomorrow night, I will tell you straight up, I don't care if they lose. I want them to win. We'll do a Tipico boost for that game tomorrow, and I hope they win. But they have put themselves in a great position where even if they lose tomorrow night, I'm more interested to see what you would have for the Bucks. And you got to have Giannis play. You got to have Chris Middleton show up, Dame Lillard, all that kind of stuff. But I believe they will. I'd imagine that loss they had last week probably stings on them a little bit. But here are the teams that you have beat. The Wizards twice, the Spurs, the Nets. Actually, you want to know what? I'm going to do you one better. I'm going to pull this up right now. Eastern Conference standings. So of the teams that you have beat in this stretch, the Wizards, the Spurs, the Nets, the Bulls, the Bucks without Giannis, the Hawks, and the Magic. Of the teams that are above 500, the Magic are the only one. The Magic of that, I'm taking the Bucks didn't have Giannis, okay? So the Magic and the Bucks in that stretch are the only teams that are above 500. Okay, so what? You beat the teams that you were supposed to beat. But for me, it is the bigger picture. I am now starting to think about what this team looks like in the playoffs. I'm not saying the playoffs are guaranteed. Again, you still got to see this thing through. And you're going to get these guys back, and you will have time to get that figured out. And that's going to be part of the experimenting that I'm sure JB is going to do next month. All right, well, let's try to sit this guy down, or let's play these minutes, or let's try this look out on the floor and see. But the question is, are you concerned about that flow being interrupted? And I got to tell you, Ryan, I don't know how you vote no on that. I think you have to be. You are talking about a team that is going to have a monumental shift coming up here in a couple of weeks. It's a good one. You're getting two good players back. Also, they are two players that have been on your team and in your system. It's not like a trade where you're bringing somebody in and they're raw and you're like, all right, we got to get you up to speed on exactly what we do here. No, these guys are here, but it is a little bit of a different team, right, than it was when they left. But I am concerned. I am. And it's because I have goals. It's because I have expectations. And again, there's no world that I don't want these guys back. I want them back, but I want it to work when they come back. I'm a fan of the team. I want what's best for the team. And I can't, like, for all the people that wanted JB fired, I think that's been calmed down properly so. JB Bickerstaff fan here. But man, this is not going to be an easy job for him. And I think it might even have to come back to tough conversations. Do you want to have one right now? Do you move Evan Mobley to the bench? Think about it. Now, starting in the NBA is it's an honor thing, right? You want to say that you're a starter. And you hear stories about guys that go win the Sixth Man of the Year award, and sometimes they will even admit how hard it was for them to make that transition, but to understand that this is a crucial role. And I would tell you that Karis LeVert would probably start on a good chunk of NBA teams out there. That's how good he is. But he has this role with this team, which is fine. I let my mind wander on that. Because Garland and Mobley, I think, can play together. It's the Mobley-Allen that I don't know works. And I think at this point, it would be easier to move Evan Mobley to the bench. Now, some people, that would erupt in this town. And then the haters on Evan Mobley, which have always been there, will call him a bust. He hasn't developed quickly enough as you think, and his outside shot. I mean, that would just be feeding them. That would just be stoking that fire with gas, right? But would that be the right move for the Cavs to make? And would they be strong enough to be able to say, this is what we got to do? I'd at least experiment with it. I'd at least give it a try. Because of watching what Jared Allen has been able to do, I don't know if that's the ultimate question. Can they coexist? Can they work? And maybe JB would sit here and tell me straight to my face, you're an idiot. Wouldn't be the first time. Not with JB, but you know what we're talking about. These guys can work. I wouldn't be shocked if we saw it. And especially with him coming back off the knee injury, that might be a good excuse to be like, yeah, we're not going to start him. I'm going to come off the bench, limit the minutes. And I want to see what that looks like. The thing is, would that stunt the development? How would he handle that? Like, those are all questions that I think are important and pertinent to this. Seriously. The other thing is, the elephant in the room, the future of the Cavs. Is it with Donovan Mitchell or is it with Evan Mobley? Right? Who's the star future of this team? And if they still believe it's Evan Mobley, they ain't going to put him off the bench. They're not even going to mess with that. You don't even create that. Drama. I use the word drama for lack of a better term, but you don't even want to create that. You don't even want to instill that in his mind. Because that takes a lot to go to somebody and say, dude, yeah, you're not going to start anymore. And granted, you could sell him on everything, right? You're still going to get minutes. You're still going to play. You're still going to have an important role on this team. That's a shot. That hurts. Now, the other option is you start him, but then we know the minutes down the stretch or how they stagger things. I mean, these are all options that I believe the Cavs are going to have to figure out. So to our two for Tuesday question, first one up. Are you concerned about the Cavs' flow with the return of Evan Mobley and Darius Garland? It's still a little way off. We still got time on that. But Ryan, I'm very clearly voting yes on this. I'm concerned. I need to see it.
I'm not necessarily concerned. I'd say more intrigued to see how JB Bickerstaff handles it, whether they jump right back into a normal rotation or if they kind of smooth things over. I mean, the good thing is, as good as it can be for an injury when you're talking about a potential star player, is Darius is going to come back before Evan Mobley, obviously, because it's a lot easier to come back, I would say, from a jaw fracture than it is knee surgery. And that being said, I'm definitely more concerned about Mobley and his minutes more than I am Darius. I'm super excited to get Darius back.
Sure.
But yeah, I guess it all just depends on if it really hinges Jared Allen, like, for some reason he can't coexist with Mobley and he turns back into kind of a shell of what we've seen over this stretch run without him. Because arguably Jared Allen has been our best player as those two have been absent. I would be okay, obviously, with having Mobley off the bench. I mean, if that dude's your first dude off the bench, that's insane. And, right, that's going to be a pride thing for Evan Mobley, whether they want to kind of swallow their pride a little bit, put your third overall pick on the bench. I don't know if Evan Mobley, how he would handle that. He seems like he's pretty mature for his age.
Sure.
But, yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, and the conversation has to be had.
Yeah. All right, let's get to our second 2 for Tuesday. We got a lot of Browns that we're going to get to coming up. And it's not just because of the weather, but mostly my son has been on this thing. He keeps asking me to go ice skating. 2 for Tuesday. Do you know how to ice skate?
I certainly don't.
I know how to rollerblade, and I've been ice skating a few times in my life. And everybody growing up always said that rollerblading was harder than ice skating.
Somebody just told me that, and I couldn't believe it.
And I don't believe that.
Who?
I don't know. Because, like I said,
one of my friends literally just told me that a week ago.
I know how to rollerblade. And I haven't done it in years, so like I would probably stand up there and break my ass. I know I would. And I've gone ice skating like when I was a kid. So one of my best friends growing up played hockey. So his birthday parties were always at the ice rink. And I would go and like hold on to the boards. Now, a few years ago, my wife, my brother, and his girlfriend, we went to the ice skating rink at Public Square. And I could putz around a little bit without having to fall too bad. Boy, did I see some people break their ass on that, though. Let me tell you on that. So I think like it's a little bit of a concern for me because my son really and he's only 2.5. So even that might not be old enough to put out on the ice. But I thought about it. Like Winterhurst is right near our house. I'll go throw some skates on him, rent the skates, get him a helmet, and I'll just take him out there and I'll kind of hold him. I feel confident enough that I'd be able to stand up and move a little bit with him so he doesn't fall. But I'm also, again, not an ice skater. I didn't play hockey growing up. I know a lot of people that did. My brother-in-law played hockey. Like, I know he can skate. I can rollerblade, but I can't. So, like, on the question, do you know how to ice skate? We're going to use I would say no, right? I know how to stand up. I don't think I'd fall. Right, I don't count that as ice skating. I'm talking about you actually know how to go like semi-fast. You know how to stop. You know how to go backwards. Again, I could do all that on a rollerblade, or at least I used to. But ice skating, I would vote no. I don't know how to ice skate. You never done it? Never even like once even gone on the ice?
Never had a pair of roller.
You never had a pair of rollerblades growing up?
I meant ice skates.
Oh, ice.
I've been rollerblading. I didn't own a pair, but I went to fun and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Sure, everybody did.
But if
Shout
I
out to the skate station in Brunswick.
I'm like scared some shit like Anchorman 2 would happen to me where he like trips over the wire and goes blind.
Right.
It's just never really caught my interest.
Yeah. And again, I know there's a lot of people that played hockey, so that's our second one. Do you know how to ice skate? I figured it was apropos, just not only because of the weather, but also like, my son incessantly for the last week's been like, Dad, can we go ice skate? And the thing is, I don't even think he knows what ice skating is. It's just this thing that he's grabbed onto. My wife and I are entertaining. She's like, we take him up to open skate? And I'd love it if he played hockey. That'd be great, sure. But got to start him young. Hockey seems to be one of those sports, if you're not skating when you're 3, then you really don't. You can't get to that level that you expect to.
Have you and your wife had a conversation about like your son potentially playing football?
Yes, we've had the conversation about all of the sports.
Yeah, is she okay with it?
So football is interesting. Her brother was a 3-year starter at Ed's. He played in college. I played in college. Football, both of our, my dad, her dad, both played in high school. Like football is in the family. She has concerns. I will tell you the one impasse that my wife and I have. It's wrestling.
Oh, really?
So my family are all wrestlers. My grandfather was a MAC champion. My uncles on my mom's side all wrestled in high school, a couple in college. They were really good. My dad wrestled at Maple Heights with the Milkoviches when they were like what St. Ed's is now? That was Maple Heights when my dad was there. I mean, it was tough. So growing up, wrestling was the only sport and baseball, that all my brothers and I did. We all wrestled. My cousins wrestled. My cousin's like top 10 all time at BW for wins. in wrestling. So wrestling is like in our family. That's the one sport she doesn't want him to do. And that tears me down because I'm like, damn it.
What's the issue with wrestling?
Her brother also wrestled at Ed's, which is, again, really hard to do. She's worried about injuries, the skin, the cauliflower ear, all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, granted, yes, I got hurt. I got skin stuff. I got a little cauliflower ear. Like, it happens, right?
Better than CTE.
Well, that's her other thing on football.
Yeah.
So, and again, she's looking out for her child, which I get. And the thing is, I just want my kids to do something. They could be in the band. They could be in the choir. I just would like them. I think life is more enriched when you have activities and you have hobbies. So the same thing. Hockey is a hard one because what does everybody say about hockey? You buy them this gear for $900. They wear it for a year and then they grow out of it. I remember that with my friend growing up. He was really into hockey. And every year, you need new shoulder pads. You need new skates. And I think, not that I've done research on it, it sounds like it's a little better today where there's a lot of resale market, like Facebook Marketplace. I'm sure if my son wanted to play hockey tomorrow, he ain't getting new gear. I'm going to go on Facebook Marketplace and buy him some stuff there as you roll kind of through. But the same thing, hockey's a brutal sport. That's not an easy sport to play. Ideally, and I don't push anything on my kids. I'm not trying to be that dad. But if my kids golfed, that would make me happy because I love golfing. And golfing's a great sport. So if I got them into golf early, and then, if they wanted to play baseball or, my daughter, volleyball, cross country, I really don't care what they do. They were soccer. They can play whatever sport they want.
At Michigan?
They can do anything they want except go to Michigan. That's it. That's the only rule that I have.
Just start showing your son highlights of Charlie Hewlett. Super safe position.
Oh, yeah. Long snapper's great.
You can be in the league for 20 years.
Long snapper's great. Good money. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Nice pension. All that. Kicking. Soccer. Start doing that. So the ice skating, I think, and if anybody out there has the advice for me at Matt Fontana 83, as a parent that, again, I think I can stand up out there, but I do kind of want to take him just to get a little taste of it. You know what I mean? Little taste of it. So we're out. Neither one of us ice skate, but I'll be interested to see how that second poll plays out.
Didn't you just fix your back? Is it still bugging you?
No, my back is good now. Like that would be the other complete fear. Right, is that I go out there and I tore my bicep last year, like all this stuff where I just go out there and break a hand or something trying to catch myself. So the thing is they give you a traffic cone for the kids, and you're supposed to hold on to the traffic cone while you skate. Like, you got those in adult sizes, or I should be fine.
You'd be okay.
I say that now. And the other thing is how embarrassing would it be to fall in front of my kid too? Like, here, you're supposed to look up to your parents to try to show you how to live the world. Well, all right, let's go ice skating.
I think you should wear a GoPro while you do it, and we can.
I could try.
We can show everybody.
I could try. Ice skating is a great skill. I'm envious of people that are voting yes on our second 2 for Tuesday. All right, let's catch our break. When we come back, we're going to dive into the Browns. We got a lot from Andrew Berry to dissect from yesterday. Still talking Cavs this morning. Our 2 for Tuesday is up. Are you all concerned about the Cavs' flow with the return of Evan Mobley and Darius Garland? Vote on that. We got 2 for Tuesday. We got our bracket, your favorite soup. The number 1 seeds are set, and I think we have all 16. But vote or send us your suggestions for your favorite soup. We got a lot of stuff in around, or we'll go morning update, excuse me, not around the league. We got to do morning update coming up. Big news in the wrestling world. Did you see this about Netflix? They got Raw. So all you wrestling fans better have Netflix here in a couple of years, which I think is interesting. We'll get to all that coming up right here on the Fontana Show. Tuesdays here on Big Play. You got Josh and Maria Cribbs tonight and Enter the Jungle with James Rapine. So if you're a Bengals fan or if you know a Bengals fan, send it over to our newest show here at Big Play. But yesterday was a big day for us. You were there. Stump Mitchell was in with with Nick and Gab and Reflog on the Big Play Cleveland show. We'll talk more about what Stump had to say coming up as well.
He made his rounds.
He did. And listen, I respect Stump because, he needs to find a job now. And whether that's in coaching or not, we obviously have Blake and Greg. I would have loved to have him on with Greg. Could you imagine Blake and Greg and Stump all talking ball? That sounds like a show to me. Send that to the higher ups. We'll get that done. But nonetheless, he was on last night. Get that replay on our YouTube channel. We're also up on Twitter as well. And yesterday, Hanford Dixon, of course, Blake and Greg Williams. We got it all for you right here on Big Play. Follow us at Big Play.
Did you see who they had on Come Get Some?
No. Brockers. Michael Brockers. I did see that.
That guest list they have is crazy.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing. How many guys have they coached?
Oh my God.
They got a Rolodex. Really interesting stuff there. So we got it all for you on Big Play, folks. Check us out on Twitter or our website, bigplay.com. Andrew Berry, he doesn't usually say a lot. And I think he kind of stayed status quo for that yesterday, but there's still some interesting things he said about Deshaun Watson, Joe Flacco. I need a hammer, Ryan. I need a hammer. Because I'm going to put the nail in the coffin when we return. Stay with us. Fontana Show, Big Play. All right, back here on the Matt Fontana Show, we got to hear from Browns general manager Andrew Berry yesterday. You know that he is not just the general manager, he is also the executive vice president of football operations and general manager, just like Ryan is an engineer.
There we go.
There we go. That's how it goes. So we hear from AB yesterday, and I preface it by saying this because the first thing before we jump into all the things that we wanted to hear from AB, they are very close to the chest. They don't give a lot. And it's funny because there are times that you will hear Barry say, I'll give you this. You know what I mean? Like, he knows how to not let things slip out. He and Stefanski are very similar from that mindset. So, Ryan, you watched it as well as I did. And there's things we're going to get into and dive in. But the first thing, I wanted to let you go first on this. What was the biggest takeaway that you had from Andrew Berry yesterday? Could be anything. It could be the fact that he didn't say anything. It could be a certain comment. It could be this. Like, was there a big takeaway that you had from Andrew Berry yesterday?
Kind of on a funny note, but also not a funny note, kind of serious. And this is just me trying to be all detectives, Mr.
Oh, that's what we do.
Mr. Sleuth here, Big Play. It's just like you notice when they mentioned Flacco, when they mentioned Deshaun, and when they mentioned Nick Chubb, the first time that those names were mentioned, it was just he went and grabbed his water bottle and started chugging it. The body language is super easy to read. But I guess maybe his comparison to Detroit Lions opening up with that was a little bit interesting.
I thought so, too.
I mean, there's clearly parallels between us and Detroit, and he mentioned his relationship with some of the people over there in that organization. I thought that was super interesting.
Do you want to know what that – because that was one of my things, too. I felt like he was trying to disarm for a second because the whole point was, look at what we've built. We're not that far off like Detroit. You know, the text with Tom Telesco, I think, is a great story, and I think that helps and all that kind of stuff. But I felt like he was trying to disarm a little bit because it'd be easy for this press conference to be nasty and go, you guys got smoked in a playoff game. There's all these questions with Deshaun Watson on his shoulder and if he's going to come back. I thought that was pretty good because AB, and shout out to Peter, he's the head of communications there for the Browns. They're smart. They know they prepare for this. They sit down and they know the questions that are going to come and they get ready for it. So I felt like that was a little disarming from AB. But that was also one of my biggest takeaways is don't jump off the ship, right? And I know that as fans, we can be neurotic. And there are fans that are a lot older than me and they've been through a lot worse than me. And it doesn't resonate all the time when you hear patience. You don't want that. Because some people that are been watching this team for 40 years or 50 years, they go, I'm out of patience. I'm done. I've seen it all, and I'm angry, and I want this team to go now, and I got to go to the Super Bowl now. Well, the thing is, this regime is brand new. This regime is not 40 or 50 years old. The Browns are, yes. But this current collection of people are 4 years into it. You've had 2 playoff appearances, which is pretty damn good. You have 2 Coach of the Year winner in Kevin Stefanski, and you believe the future is bright. So I think that sometimes that can fall on deaf ears, when in reality, there is no reason to jump off. There is every reason to stay the course and believe that this is going to work. I'd love to wake up and snap my fingers and say the Browns are going to be in the Super Bowl in 3 weeks. That's not how it works. We know that every team, this is a year-over-year process. And as much as some people out there might hate to hear this, they restarted that process last year. When they went out and got Deshaun Watson and they changed everything, you restarted this process. So I could tell you, if I wanted to be a blind faith supporter of the Browns, to say they made it in year 2 of a regime. That's not the case. Stefanski was here, Barry was here, I get it. But in this current era, they're ahead of the curve. They are. Now, this year, dealing with Watson being out and getting Joe Flacco here and all those things, that was hard to do. But if you look at it from that scope, they're ahead of schedule on where they should be and where they're supposed to go. You made the playoffs and lost. Now, what do you ask for next year? To win a playoff game or 2 or get to the AFC Championship game. Look at the Detroit Lions. It took them, about 3 years to get where they're at. That's what I'm going to ask of the Cleveland Browns next year. The problem is, again, people don't want to hear it. Some people don't want to hear that. And you got to stay the course. There's nothing to do except say that you got to have the belief in the people. Now, there's still questions with some of the players and all this other kind of stuff, but you got to believe that they're ahead of schedule and where they're at. So that was one of my biggest takeaways, too, where you could tell that AB wanted to start by disarming and saying, hey, look at the Lions. We're kind of following this model here. The other thing that I found really interesting was, it's something that I shouldn't find it, he has no concern over the salary cap. He doesn't. Like, there's questions asked about this player. I did think it was interesting that he went to the card of, we're not going to talk players until the combine, where he said these couple of weeks are self-reflection. We'll have an idea. He also mentioned the market, and he does that every press conference because he's a general manager. You're not going to just throw money at guys without knowing what the market is. But I also took it away that they might not be as active as we thought. And this is just the introductory press conference. Like, I don't know, Ryan, that was just the vibe that I got, that they might not be as active as they've been in the past. You know what I mean? Of signing a lot of these guys. A good chunk of your players are coming back. Now, I'm screaming for a wide receiver. I'm screaming for a couple more guys on defense. Sure up the offensive line if needed, sure. But other than that, they probably are going to run it back with a lot of the guys that they have here. So those are some of our biggest takeaways from the Barry press conference yesterday. Now, you said a lot of things were directed Flacco and Deshaun Watson. So the first question, and shout out to Tom Withers, because Tom always gets the first question. He asked the first one. He kind of opened things up a little about Flacco. He kind of let the door creak open for a second to see if Barry would walk through it. Barry didn't. So Tom, very well done. He's one of the best in the business. Came straight back with the straight up question. Do you want Joe Flacco back? This is sound and video. Well done, Ryan. Courtesy of the Cleveland Browns. We thank them very much for that. Courtesy of the Browns. Andrew Berry yesterday. Will you bring Joe Flacco back?
We'd absolutely love to have Joe back. He's a good quarterback, and but I guess maybe a little bit similar to Jacoby last year. It really depends, right? Like, I want to bring all of our good players back, and but there are constraints to that. I'm really kind of both sides of the aisle, but would have no problem having Joe back.
There's no hammer in here. I found this thing.
What is that?
I don't know what. I have no idea. It's a bracket of something. But if you'll indulge me for a second, are you ready? Oh, look, I even got a screw. Here. Skill I have to teach my son how you don't hit your hand, That is me putting the nail in the coffin. Joe Flacco's not coming back. Joe Flacco is not coming back. There is in no world that he's coming back. Absolutely not. AB needed to be asked that question, and he all but said it's similar to Jacoby Brissett. Hey, Ryan, did Jacoby Brissett play for the Cleveland Browns this past season?
He did not.
He did not. Joe Flacco will not be playing for the Cleveland Browns next year. It has to be all about Watson. And we'll get to the other question in a second about the relationship between those two. You captured lightning in a bottle. In a time, it's not going to happen again. I think Joe Flacco wants to play. Let's just get to it now. The other question was asked. Do you think these guys could coexist? The question basically was, and I want to read the question verbatim. Oh, shoot. I had the other one lined up. The question, in essence, here was, do you worry about Flacco and Watson being here together? Because you bring a guy in that had a lot of success, and you have the guy that's supposed to be your starting quarterback. Would you not be worried? Here it is. How much of a consideration would it be with Flacco to have the appearance of a guy who took your offense to different heights versus Deshaun, the possibility of some division there and polarity around the team? Here's Andrew Berry's answer to that question. Sound and video courtesy of the Browns.
Zero consideration. Zero considerations because of how both individuals are. It's not a concern internally at all.
Do you believe him? I mean, that's tough because then I'm sitting here saying, what, Andrew Berry's lying. And I don't believe that he is. And I think his point is Joe Flacco and Deshaun Watson are professionals and they'll deal with it. Here's your problem, Ryan. I'm not worried about those guys. They're not the two that I'm worried about. I'm worried about us. Because it's the fans that would not be able to handle that. Seriously, call that for what it is. I believe that Joe Flacco and Deshaun Watson, again, I just put the nail in the coffin. He's not coming back. In a world that he did, let's just play that out for a second, right? He comes back. I believe that Watson and Flacco could coexist. I believe that they'd be friendly with one another, that they'd help out each other in the locker room, that they'd be in the meeting room, all that good stuff, right? It's not them I'm worried about. It's us, the fans. It's the rest of the guys in that locker room. Because human nature would lean towards what you know. And what we know, Joe Flacco set some NFL records with this offense last year. What I don't know is what Deshaun Watson is going to do. And the Watson Uber defenders will say, he went 5-1, and look at that second half in this game, and look at some of these stats. Sure. And I truly want nothing more than a world that I am just over the head, beat over the head that Deshaun Watson is it. That I can't even question it. That it's stupid to have conversations about how good Deshaun Watson is. I want to live in that world. I want him to go out and put up all the yards and win all the games, but I am not there yet. And I don't really know how anybody is. Again, there are people that are just fans no matter what, and what he did in Houston, all that. I really don't know how you can be a fan and say unequivocally that he is going to be good here. But I can say the same thing about Joe Flacco. You captured this magic for a 5-game run here. It all went to hell in a handbasket in the playoffs. and he rolled up snake eyes and he's going to move on. Those are all the unknowns of it. But you can't bring Joe Flacco back. You just can't. And the difference in the offense, all that other kind of stuff, that factors in. That is certainly a part of it, yes. But if you can avoid a division, avoid it. The other thing, when your franchise quarterback goes down, you're not supposed to do what the Browns did. I give the players and the coaches and some, even to a point, the fans credit, because we had to persevere, and then we really started to believe. But make no mistake, that is the anomaly. You are supposed to just tank it on out and not be very good. So for people that want to argue, well, Watson can get hurt again, you might want a competent backup or a guy. And Andrew Berry said that yesterday. They've spent good money on a backup. That's something they don't shy away from. But you got to realize that if Deshaun Watson gets hurt again, you're probably not going to do what you did this season. You got to understand that your belief has got to be that he's going to stay healthy. And that's a hard thing to ask for in the NFL sometimes. Can't prepare for injury. I just don't see any world. I just don't. And it's not about a play thing. I don't think it's so much about the money thing, but it can be that. If you can avoid that, you need to avoid it. And I appreciate what Joe Flacco did for this team. This is Deshaun Watson's team now. It has been. He got hurt. It's back to being his. And you have got to push all of your chips in. You have no other choice. As a fan, as Andrew Berry's cat, all of your chips are now in the center of the pot, of the table, on Deshaun Watson. And you better hope he plays well and he stays healthy. I can't hedge my bet. This is not a good situation to hedge your bet. If we keep Joe Flacco around. Because then that festers and then that gets around. You just got to make the clean. And that's sometimes what general managers have to do. They have to make the tough decisions, the ones that people will complain about or have an issue about, all that kind of stuff. But they know deep down it's the right thing to do. And I will defend Andrew Berry on that. When they let Joe Flacco leave, it's the right move, AB, and I'll defend you on that. I like a lot of the moves you made. Some of the moves we question. That's kind of what we do here. But in that is one, I would never look back on Ryan and say he made a mistake there.
Yeah, I mean, Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski know better than anybody else. The person with the most influence on their job security and their reputations in the NFL really right now is Deshaun Watson, given that fat contract guaranteed money that he had. They know how quickly things in the NFL can change. Go look at Nick Sirianni and the Eagles as an example.
They fired Brian Johnson this morning.
Fired their offensive coordinator.
Too, yeah.
Nick Sirianni just led his team to the Super Bowl. They fell a little bit short, and now we're already talking about him potentially being on a hot seat. These guys know how fast stuff in the NFL change and how directly tied their future is, like the team's success, to Deshaun Watson. And no matter what you want to say and about how good Joe Flacco was, the ceiling that Deshaun Watson has is inherently higher than what Joe Flacco is right now. And a big factor of that is age, right? But that doesn't matter. They know they have to go all in on Deshaun and do everything they possibly can. And yes, of course, Andrew Berry's going to say that they love Joe Flacco, would love to have him back, because that's what you say, because he gave us so much happiness in a time of total despair. But they know that the best thing going forward, whether they want to admit it or not, for that locker room and as a fan base, we don't want to go through that hell either. Deshaun Watson's our answer. Joe Flacco's got to go.
Well, you have the 10-year clip?
I do.
All right, let's get to that in 1 second. The thing is, and you brought a great point up, because this is kind of what resonated with me on that. They owe Joe Flacco a real debt of gratitude, right? Because how much cachet did they buy Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry?
Yeah.
Think about the alternate universe that it comes crashing down. We're having the fire Kevin Stefanski conversation. They don't deserve a contract extension. And this, I'm just going to say this. Joe Flacco gave Kevin Stefanski the coach of the year. And that sounds like Kevin Stefanski didn't do anything to earn it, and that's not true. He led this team. He called that offense. He deserves that coach of the year, and he's going to win in a couple of weeks at the NFL awards. But think about it. Joe Flacco really made Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski a lot of money in the month of December. They did. So they should thank him, and I'm sure they do. But again, that doesn't mean it's that simple as running it back. So the other thing that Berry talked about yesterday was a little bit about the future of the Cleveland Browns and pretty much the investment that they made in Deshaun Watson. Here's Berry talking about Watson in the future, sound and video courtesy of the Browns.
Yeah, Jake, I honestly haven't spent a ton of time thinking about that. When we made the trade, we really looked at it as, hey, this is something that we'll evaluate like a 10-year time horizon because these guys play. Obviously, we want him on the field, more often than he's been. He can't help the shoulder injuries this year, but we're really pleased with him. He's very talented, he's very hardworking, he's adaptable, and we really feel good about him moving forward.
The question was, do you revisit the trade? But the real chunk there was talking about the 10-year view of it. That's how the contract was set up too, right? You gave him all that money because you feel like you could spread it out, and then when they re-sign him to a deal. So I know a lot of people are jumping on they could jettison after him this year. The Browns are still operating that way. And the thing is, the default will be that Watson is the quarterback and it's going to take us where we need to go. You pivot off of a change. So the default is he's going to be here for 10 years and be the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. The only way that changes is with something that he doesn't play well, right? If it's status quo or even mediocre, they're going to keep riding that. Injuries, they're going to keep riding with the default. And the default is that he's your quarterback, going to be here for 10 years. He is healthy, which is the thing that I think we all need to ask for, right? Because good or bad, as long as he's healthy, you can make your decisions off of that. You can say, all right, he's playing to this level. We can work with this, or he's not playing to this level. We got to make a move. But you need health, number one. Injuries, and I guess you eventually will jettison a guy if you don't feel like he can stay healthy. But the injuries are the great excuse in that. They're the great excuse. But the default will be that he's here. And the way that they've set this up is that he will be the quarterback for the next 10 years. Good or bad, I don't know. But you got to go all in. You have got to go all in with Deshaun Watson. Final thing I want to play, the Nick Chubb clip. So this is an important one, and I know we've sent this clip out from this show here before, and it's a feeling that I've had for a long time. You let Nick Chubb finish his career here. I don't care what the contract is. I will give the ultimate pass to Andrew Berry. Even if there's a time that Chubb is not himself and he's making money, and I thought about this. If there was a world that like in 5 years, I don't know, and you had Nick Chubb, who I asked to be signed for a Brown for life because I don't ever want to see him play anywhere else. And even if that money didn't always make sense, there was a time in 5 years that Andrew Berry had to say, you know what? I couldn't sign Mike Evans because I paid Nick Chubb. And I thought about how I would react to that. Because I want a guy like Mike Evans here so badly. But I got to stick to my guns. And I would say, you know what? That's okay. That's okay. Because Nick Chubb, for what he's meant to this town, for who he is, for what everybody believes in, he needs to be here forever. And I said, Andrew Berry, Kevin Stefanski, they are the stewards of our team. Don't ever forget that that is our team. We are the Cleveland Browns fans. The point of the team is for the fans. And this is one thing that the fans want. They need to do it. And I know he's got 1 year left on his deal. We're coming off the knee injury. There's a chance they could sign him to an extension and restructure some of that money. But I will die on that mountain and that hill that they need to re-sign Nick Chubb for as long as he wants to play football. I assume, and I'm going to ask Nick to be in good faith negotiation when he's done. I don't want him Frank Gore in this, okay, at 36, trying to got to get out there and play a little bit. I'm assuming Nick would be a fair negotiation on that, and he would call it when it's time. But up until then, he only plays for the Cleveland Browns. Andrew Berry yesterday was asked about Nick Chubb. Here's what he had to say, thanks to the Browns.
In terms of Nick moving forward, obviously I understand that's a little bit the elephant in the room. Nick, I can say for myself, no one in the organization, I understand our family. Nobody wants to see, that carry in Pittsburgh, be the last time he carries the ball for the Cleveland Browns. And, obviously there are things that we'll have to work through, but, that would not be our intention as well. We obviously will work to keep him on the team.
That kind of made it, okay, the first part where he says the last carry. Well, yes, Nick Chubb is going to play for the Browns this season. You know what I mean? But Andrew Berry is so smart, he doesn't want to get himself into a pickle that, oh, yeah, we'll keep him here forever. But at the end there, where he said, we're going to work really hard at that. And I believe Nick will work hard at that with his side of things too. I felt really good about that. I felt really good about hearing that. And again, I hope Nick is going well with the knee injury. That was a serious one, and I hope that he can return to being the level that you expect Nick Chubb to have, which is a very high level to have. Ryan, that's got to happen. That's got to happen. And I think Andrew Berry gets that vibe from the fans. I think he gets that vibe from us, as Clevelanders. This means a little bit more. There's a sad day that Joel Bitonio will hang it up. There's a sad day when Denzel Ward will leave. That's the weird thing. There are guys that are legacy players, Miles and Denzel, and Bitonio. And David Njoku, I think, is pretty close to that. But I still think Nick Chubb is on a different level. A different level than even Miles, right?
Yeah. Well, yes. Yeah.
Would you unequivocally say you don't? And trust me, I say the same thing. I don't want to ever see Miles play anywhere else, but it's not to the level of Nick Chubb, which is a little interesting.
No, there's
you know what I mean?
There's certain guys that are above the rest. They're put on a pedestal.
Yeah.
They earned it. That are untouchables, for lack of better terms to label them. There are certain players that an organization has to know that their fan base has become so emotionally attached to because they've become that face of that club, and that's Nick Chubb, who's been here now for 6-7 years. I don't care. You do whatever you can to make sure that Nick Chubb doesn't play anywhere else in this league.
You want a spicy question?
Well, here's the thing. Yes, if you're smart about it, hedge your emotions. You not even hedge. You have to prepare for yourself.
He can't operate that way. Andrew Berry can't operate.
You have
that
to
way.
prepare yourself for a world where Nick Chubb doesn't play for this football team again, and even worse, he plays for somebody.
Yeah, that's
else.
what I don't want to have happen.
You have to brace yourself.
I don't want
for
that.
But you have to. You have to emotionally bet yourself.
I don't want.
But there's not many players like a Nick Chubb. The closest thing I can compare it to in Cleveland right now is Jose Ramirez and when we had LeBron.
Well, and even Joe Thomas. And Joe Thomas finished out because, again, Joe was going to get traded to the Broncos, and he said, no, I don't want to go.
Yeah. No,
Joe Hayden was close, right?
And
then that twist of the knife was when he went to Pittsburgh. And in sport, what's one of the sayings? You can't have loyalty in pro sports because money is involved. And sometimes usually when money is involved, you can't be loyal. You have to make the right money moves, the right player moves, and all that kind of stuff. And you're right. I'm going against the grain on this. That I want them to throw out all of their thoughts and sometimes even the smart moves. I said that. Even if this move comes back to bite Andrew Berry, I'll give him the pass on that. Now, would the Haslams give him the pass on that? Would the majority of the fan base give him the pass on that? It's not like the NFL salary cap will come to you and go, hey, here's a mid-level exception, like the NBA. Here's a mid-level exception for you. Here's the Nick Chubb exception for you because he's so great and we all love him very much and you shouldn't have to count that against the salary cap. That'd be nice. That's not the world that we live in. You want to know a spicy question that hit me? If you could sign one to a lifelong contract, would it be Myles Garrett or Nick Chubb?
Myles Garrett.
See, I would say Nick Chubb.
Well, from what standpoint? From who would I want?
From what I want.
Or what I think is more
Myles is, generational,
what do I think
better.
Is more hinging on our success, or which one would I want?
Well, Myles would be the answer to most of those questions, but what I want is Nick Chubb.
Well, then...
that's the tough... That's the emotion
that
is coming into it. And I can't... The thing is, that's what I want as an emotional fan. But I go back to, dude, this is my team. This is your team. We're the fans. And I want to see, yes, the Browns to be successful, but when there's some, and I'm not asking that for everybody. The other thing I want to make this clear too, I'm not saying that about Jordan Kanashik, okay? No offense to him. I'm not saying that about Harrison Bryant. I'm not saying that about Jordan Akins. Tight ends I'm thinking of. There are just some special guys. And I think Nick Chubb is one. So I really, and I'm sorry to say to AB, I'm going to take this in the wrong way. He made it sound like they're going to work to get that done, so now that's what I expect. So if that doesn't happen...
Well, what's he supposed to say?
I'm going to be very upset.
But what's he supposed to say?
He could have given me a line about, we got to see how things play out, or we got to see how his surgery goes, or there's just a lot of unknowns. He could have said that. And I've been sitting here neurotic and pissed off probably. Going, crap, they're going to get rid of him. I think AB handled it the right way, right? He's working really hard. We have a high value on him. That's not going to be the last time that you see Nick Chubb play for the Cleveland Browns, and we're going to work hard to make sure that happens. Sorry, AB. I took your words, and this is me, and I fully admit this. I'm taking Andrew Berry's words, and I am twisting them for my own emotional gain. If you don't re-sign Nick Chubb to a lifetime, if you don't keep him here forever, I'm going to be pissed off at you. That's it. I'm going to be really angry. Your other moves, important, yes. I need you to build this team, but I'm going to say this right now with the utmost respect for Andrew Berry, who I do respect, and I think he's damn good at his job. If you do not keep Nick Chubb with the Cleveland Browns, I'm going to be pissed off at you. It's one of your jobs. Not your main job, but it's one of your jobs. I'm asking that as a fan. It's a simple thing. It's an easy thing. All right, 10 o'clock upon us. We got the morning update. We got a lot to get to. We'll dive back into the Cavs. We started wine and gold this morning, so we got more wine and gold with that coming up. Some moves on the NFL coaching search.
We're 0 for 1.
What we didn't want to happen. Yep. We'll talk about that after the morning update as well. Ryan's got all the stories you got to know across the bring up the Netflix thing with WWE. I'm really interested on that. So we'll get to that coming up. Morning update, Fontana show. Get signed up. Typical, folks. We're up already, baby.
Oh, already.
So we missed our Cavs parlay yesterday. I'm not saying we missed it because it hit. It just didn't get up in time. Folks, we're going to do a Blue Jackets parlay tonight. Do you want to know the boost, I should say? Ryan, we're going off the reservation here because our boost is one that you cannot even do. So I texted Nick this morning because I want to do a Blue Jackets boost. They play tonight. We are going to do Jackets plus 2.5. Kirill Marchenko, 2 or more shots, and the game to not go to overtime. That is boosted to plus 300. Plus 300 on Tipico. Here's the thing. You can't do that parlay on your own. They won't let you combo the point spread and the shots on goal. They pushed it through for us.
Are the Blue Jackets good?
No.
Like,
and the Oilers, who they play tonight, are pretty good.
Like bottom of the barrel?
Yeah.
Wow.
They've had a lot of issues.
Like, we're one of the worst 3 teams in the league?
Record-wise, I believe so.
Wow. Okay.
Now, the thing is, we've had injuries, and they've had a lot of things go on.
Have they ever won it all?
No. The closest that we got was, so we are 14-22 on the year. There's a team that's 14-31. Talking about, and there's overtimes there. We've played a lot of overtime games. All right, so you know how hockey works on the point system?
Mm-hmm.
We have 37 points. That is 5th worst in the NHL.
So it's less than a goal a game, right?
Well, no, the points work like this. If you get a win, you get 2. If you go to overtime, you get 1. And then if you win in overtime, you get 2.
Oh.
So you know what I mean? So there's a chance you get 1 or 2 points. If you don't win, you don't get anything unless it's overtime. So the way you want to break it down, the Jackets have 14 regulation wins. That is worth 28 points. Then they have gone to overtime 9 times and lost. That's worth 1 point. That's how we get 37.
When do those points come into play?
That's all season. You make the playoffs and seeding on points.
Oh, not record?
Not record.
Oh, interesting.
So you could have more regulation wins than a team, but if they went to overtime more, you could have more points. So that's how it works. You get 2 points for a win, whether it's in overtime or regulation. But if you go to overtime and lose, you get 1 point.
Okay.
So it's all about points on how that works. So just for comparison's sake, the Jackets have 37 points. That's one of the worst in the NHL. The Vancouver Canucks have 68 points at this point. They're the best team in the NHL. So like they have 68 points with 32 wins. The Boston Bruins have 67 points. They only have 29 wins. So the Canucks have, 3 more wins than the Bruins in regulation, or 3 more wins than I should say, and they're only a point ahead of them. So hockey's fun from that standpoint. I love hockey. So we're going to do a hockey boost tonight that is boosted up to plus 300. And again, you can't do that parlay on your own. Get signed up with Tipico, folks. Use that code Fontana100. We'll do some hockey boosts. And you want to know what? Normally, we did the State of Ohio boost for college basketball. They already got one for tonight. They already have one for tonight. I love this about Tipico. They have Ohio trending bets. And for tonight, Miami to beat Central Michigan, Dayton to beat LaSalle, and Toledo to beat Northern Illinois. That's boosted to plus 288. You want to know what? I'll ride that. I'll jump on that one. Let's go. I'll jump on that boost too. Folks, they got it everywhere. And I love Tipico for that. The boosts are great. The Flex Parlay is awesome. They got the new rewards program. Check it out and get some bonus bets. Fontana 100 when you sign up. Deposit bet $25, and you get that $100 in bonus bets with our friends at Typical. We'll tell you more about them in this break. We come back, morning update, and a chance that we lose Big Bill Callahan comes your way next. Fontana on Big Play. All right, let's jump on the morning update here. Ryan's got the stories you got to know. We got to talk about Brian Callahan getting that Tennessee Titans job. Yes, we are 0 for 1 because neither one of us called him going to the Titans, but nonetheless, it could have big impact for the Browns when it comes to Bill Callahan. We got that all for it. Ryan, morning update. Begin, please.
Alrighty, well, the new tight ends coach here in Cleveland is none other than Tommy Rees, the former Crimson Tide offensive coordinator. He joins the staff. He gets hired here to coach the tight ends. Matt, I was dying to get your thoughts on this one.
I mean, it seems like here's an offensive-minded guy, which shout out to Jordan Zerm. He was my first producer on my show over at KNR. And he had a tweet. He goes, Tommy Rees is 31 years old. And for some of us, that's quite the hell you doing with your life. He's 31. At the end of the day, here's an offensive-minded guy. And I think when you talk about the collection and the group of people, right? Yes, his job is to coach up the tight ends, but he's still sitting in meeting rooms with Kevin Stefanski and the unnamed offensive coordinator, and they go, hey, we're thinking about this. And he could go, we used to run this, or here's an idea that I have. Here, it's still that pool. It's not like he's locked in and his only job is to work on David Njoku blocking and route running with Harrison Bryant. That's his day job, yes. But in the grand scheme, they still have offensive meetings where you want minds. You want people to, this is how I look at things. And I'm not saying that, Tommy Rees is a really interesting guy because I feel like his name, I'm dancing around. You know what I'm just about to say? I think it's more name than substance. I feel like with this time at Notre Dame when he was the OC there, then he goes to Alabama, everybody kind of made it sound like this guy's the cat's rear end. Like, oh my God, Tommy Rees and this and that. And people were like pissed that he left Notre Dame, and then they were happy he left Notre Dame, and then he was down in Alabama, and what he did with Jalen Milroe. I don't know. I don't know if he's any good. We'll see. But he's an offensive guy, and you feel like maybe he can bring some elements of college. The one thing that it's not a conversation for today. I actually think it's like a bigger picture conversation, but like the influence of what college football is to the pros, right? Where you hear so much about pro-style quarterbacks and guys get ranked as pro-style quarterbacks versus not. But you now watch the pro game, and what is it? It's all formations and motions. It's all stuff of air raid offense and the West Coast, which I'm still a big fan of, but they've taken so much from college. Why? Well, you take your quarterbacks from college, and you want to do things that they're comfortable doing. So I think it'd be smart to have some people that have done the college game a lot and bring that influence in. I don't want to make a mountain out of molehill. Good hire, I guess. Interested in it's just yet another Alabama guy coming up to Ohio. That's fine. Him, Caleb Downs, and Sayin, and you know Ohio State's neurotic. When I had people that went back and watched Julian Sain's high school tape. There you go. And they were like, this guy's really good. Yeah. Then, did you read that story about that Alabama guy, that the offensive lineman was Proctor? He apparently reached out to Iowa in the middle of the season, and they're like, do you know that is a giant violation in the NCAA?
That is
Could
crazy.
you imagine one of your players calling another team? Going, dude, can you get me out of here? It's a giant violation, dude. Everybody's leaving Alabama, though. Mass exodus. Good job, Kalen DeBoer. Or good luck, I should say, on your job, I guess.
All right, Matt. Well, yes, you alluded to it. Browns fans might have to live in a future without Bill Callahan. Brian Callahan, his son, the former offensive coordinator for the Cincinnati Bengals, is set to become the next head coach for the Tennessee Titans, Matt. And it's a theory going around Twitter and the sports media world that he might want to go coach with his son.
So let's get to it right now. I think now is as good a time as any. So I tweeted this out yesterday that Browns fans are now on what? The Callahan watch to see what he's going to do. And I want to find this tweet. Buck Zips tweeted. And he goes, as a dad myself, I would not want to coach on a team that my son was running. I'd want him to be able to ask me for advice, but not have to be in the position to possibly have to fire me or point the finger at me if things did not work out. And I said, I can understand that. My counter is this. Your kid comes to you and says, Dad, this is maybe the only shot that I will get at this job. It is the pinnacle of my profession and your profession. I need your help. You are one of the best at what you do. This might be my only shot at this, and you might help me be successful in doing this job. I don't know how you turn that down. And I know it's more than that because he is under contract with the Browns and he would have to get an elevation with the Titans. There's workarounds with that. And, you know, the other thing I thought about was this. You know, Bill Callahan, he could retire in a couple of years. So even if it went really bad down there in Tennessee, what does it matter? Even if he went down there, if he said to the Browns, listen, I had a great time here. I hope I was able to help and certainly did. But I'm going to go help my son now. And I'm going to go coach with my son. Maybe it's a dream that I have. And even if things went really bad and Brian Callahan got fired in 2 years and Bill Callahan was with him, I don't think he'd have any regrets on that. He's done everything. Bill Callahan has been a head coach before. He's done it. He's coached how many All-Pros on the offensive line? There's nothing left for him to prove. So why not walk off into the sunset, even if it goes bad, saying that you went and helped out your son? So I think this is very legit. I do. Now, a lot of people, smartly, they know who Scott Peters is. Scott Peters is the assistant offensive line coach, former offensive lineman in the NFL. I made the joke, I think it might have been yesterday or last week, about when you look at Scott Peters and Bill Callahan, and if I told you they both coached offensive line, Scott Peters you would believe. He's like 6'4", he's jacked out of his mind, he's a former offensive lineman. Bill Callahan's a little bit of a shorter stature kind of guy, looks like somebody you have no idea is a master at coaching O-line. It's just the dichotomy between the two. So, yeah, I would feel, like, dude, I would tell you this, I would feel confident about Scott Peters taking that job over. I really would. He's been around Callahan for long enough. He has played the position. I'd like Bill to stay, but also, dude, if he's leaning that way at all, and I'd have that tough conversation with him probably. Dude, if you're leaning, go ahead and go. This is a dream. It doesn't happen all that often. If that's really where your heart and your head is at, then you got to go do that. And I call your shot right now, Ryan. Does Bill Callahan leave to go join his son?
Yes.
I think he does too.
Yeah.
I think he does too. So we need to prepare ourselves for that.
Yeah. I can't imagine that he would turn down that opportunity.
And I mean, for the most part of your guys, Batonio's about coached up, Postic's coached about up. You'd believe that with Teller. Now the problem is that this would be the year to say, dude, we might have to flip DeJuan Jones to another position if you want him to go over to left tackle. What you're doing with Jack Conklin and Jed Wills. I mean, it's not like you're running back your 5 offensive linemen. You know exactly who they are and their positions that they've been playing in for 15 years. That's not the situation we're in. So it is a different time, but I do think Browns fans need to prepare that Bill Callahan's not going to be coaching here anymore. And that's fine. How can you turn down that opportunity to go coach with your son? I don't know how you turn that down. And especially, again, if your son came to you, if your son or daughter came to you in their profession and they said, Dad, Mom, I have this job. It's my first crack at it. It's the most important job. It's the pinnacle of what I do, and I need your help. How you turn that down? I don't know how you do it. And especially, would you really want Bill Callahan here if his mind was elsewhere? I don't think so. I would prepare that he's not going to be here, and that's fine. I wish him well. I really do.
Well, before we hop back into the Cavs, a little trade action here in the NBA. Not with our Cavs, but the Charlotte Hornets were trading Terry Rozier to the Miami Heat for a 2027
Cleveland's own
first-round pick and Kyle Lowry.
Oh, Kyle Lowry. Oh, interesting. I didn't get to this earlier. I do have it up, though. The NBA trade deadline, a complete Eastern Conference preview from Bobby Marks. Would you like to get to that in a minute?
Yeah.
All right, let's finish the morning update. We'll see what he has to say about the Cavs.
All right, well, the Cavs are riding high. A
Yes.
league-high 8-game winning streak. Sam Merrill leads the team in points with 26, followed by Donovan, 25.
Is he eligible for the rookie-sophomore game?
I mean, I don't know, but the one thing I want to see, and I'll be very ticked off, is if Sam Merrill isn't in our three-point competition.
That get him in. Yes, that's a good call. I wanted him in All-Star Weekend somehow. Yes, absolutely. I love it. That'd be great. The Cavs are back to our Twitter question this morning. We're asking everybody, do you have a worry about the return of Evan Mobley and Darius Garland on this team? About are they going to be able to interrupt the flow? Dude, we're about 50-50, 52-48 on if you're concerned about it. Sick Roy tweets, I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit nervous. I know it sounds crazy because every single team in the league would kill to have these two on their team, but I think we see a dip in production when they return. Hopefully they'll work it out in the long term and we'll be better off. Teal on Twitter, JB can't play Mitchell and Garland together other than the 4 minutes to start the game and close it out. The same for Mobley and Allen. I agree with you on that. I think there's going to have to be some staggering that goes on there. And then William tweets, I believe they play Mobley about 24 minutes per game, 14 when Allen sits, and then 10 when they're together. People criticize Allen because his shot has improved, which has helped tremendously, but Mobley's shot is a structural mess. And people saying he should be on the hub of the offense are delirious. Mobley's a talented but limited player. His jumper is totally broke, and he's too weak to back somebody down. Again, I'm going to leave the world open that Evan Mobley improves and gets better for this team. But for right now, and when these guys come back, I do think the best bet is you got to stagger these guys. You just have to.
Well, speaking of staying in the NBA, a huge scoring night around the league. Joel Embiid breaks Wilt Chamberlain's franchise 76ers record. He drops 70 points in 36. Meanwhile, just hours later, Karl-Anthony Towns breaks his own Timberwolves franchise record, drops 62 points. But Matt, the interesting part about that is the Timberwolves still lost that game.
I know.
And I was looking at it when he was at around 48, and he was shooting like 21 for 25. However, seemed like he got a little too trigger happy at the end. I think he missed a total of 12 shots, and his head coach was not happy with him.
No, he said it was immature. Chris Finch said it was immature of what Karl-Anthony Towns was doing. That's as bad in the media as you can get, a slapping a guy going, don't do that anymore. Are the Timberwolves good?
Record-wise, yeah.
Are the Timberwolves good?
Anthony Edwards is.
Are the Timberwolves good?
They're good.
Okay. Like Western Conference Finals good or NBA Finals good?
Probably conference.
I got a hot take. They ain't going to make the conference finals.
possible?
I seriously, I don't know why. And I just don't think so. I mean, yeah, when you put up those, like we just did Kobe's, 81 in timeout a couple days ago. You do that by putting up a gaudy number of shots in a game that your teammates are just giving you the ball and going, yeah, jack it up. So especially in a lot. Now you win that game, that's fine. But for his coach to call him immature, I mean, that's about as bad as you can get in the public eye. Good for Joel Embiid too. He's really good. He's going to win the MVP.
Well,
again.
and then, what'd you say?
He's going to win the MVP again.
Yeah, he's definitely the favorite. Yeah. Well, ending the morning update today, Netflix is set to stream WWE's Raw starting next year in its biggest jump into live entertainment.
So I wanted you to bring this up because with all these streaming platforms and with what they're jumping on, the most powerful thing that they could acquire is a dedicated fan base. And I say this as a guy that I grew up, I watched a little bit of pro wrestling of like the Attitude Era and Stone Cold and The Rock and Brock Lesnar was my favorite wrestler growing up and all that kind of stuff. But eventually I just stopped watching, okay? I don't watch wrestling anymore. And there are people in there, I have no idea who they are even on. Now, I say that to say this. I know people that are adults that are very into wrestling. They are very into the WWE. Those are the kind of brands that people will not blink an eye and sign up for Netflix because that's how important it is. Now, the question that I initially thought of was, what if you have the WWE pass? Isn't that a thing, the pass you get? Because I want the UFC to do that so bad. I want them to announce a pass that I can just get all the pay-per-views every year, throughout the year, whatever. Because WWE had that, right? I know you're not a big wrestling guy, right? Not really, yeah.
No.
So the pass, you get all the pay-per-views, but then, like, shouldn't you be able to watch Raw on that? I don't know. It's interesting. But they acquired a dedicated fan base and people that I really don't think will bat an eye when they say, all right, I got to watch this on Netflix. I'm not going to bet. I'm going to sign up for it. Whatever the dollar amount is, I'm that loyal to the brand. And I know there's been other brands, AEW and all these other ones. Nobody touches the WWE. I know nothing of anything more when it comes to wrestling, and I would still tell you that WWE is the king. They are. They got the biggest wrestlers. They got the best ones. It's just been such a turnover. It's not a world that I live in anymore. But I respect people that enjoy it. Listen, you're a big fan. That's cool. But that's one, Ryan, that people are like, yeah, I'll sign up for that. And a lot of people already have Netflix already. But it's interesting to see these apps get into the live entertainment now, where it's not just on demand, it's live. Because the other thing, when it's on cable, everybody had a DVR at some point. But okay, let me put it this way. I like Supercross, like motocross racing, like dirt bikes. I'm a big Supercross fan. It's on Peacock exclusively now. And I didn't sign up for Peacock, but I borrowed along. You know what I really like? I can go back and watch the races when I want. I don't have to watch it live on Saturday night, but when I'm ready to go, boom, it's ready to go. It's on the app. I can go with that. And I assume a lot of people with wrestling, kind of the same thing. You can pop it on when you want. I just wonder about the WWE pass, but that's the future. For people that want, and trust me, I'm a consumer just like everybody else. And my hard-earned dollars, not really hard-earned, I do a show, it's kind of fun. But my money goes out to all these streaming platforms that I want to watch what I want to watch. It's all going towards that, folks. And everybody's going to be on an app. And if you want everything, you're going to have 5 different apps. You're going to have to pay all this money. It's unfortunately kind of the world that we live in.
What do you watch Call of Duty on? Just Twitch?
Yeah, it's on. Well, so that's a whole drama.
What would you do if like a Netflix or a streaming service picked up like that?
I would have to watch it. I would have to pay for it.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, so the thing on Call of Duty, which I bet on when Ryan thinks is hilarious, I'm a degenerate.
I love it. Personally.
They had a big deal with YouTube. So they were on Twitch. Now they're YouTube exclusive.
YouTube TV? Or?
No, just YouTube.
Oh, okay.
So I can go on and watch it on YouTube. But the same thing, I can watch it on demand. It's great. It's a lot of fun. Now, a lot of the streamers still stream on Twitch. And Twitch is a subscription-based platform that we need to get on, by the way.
Let's do it.
We need to get on Twitch.
I'll bring my PS5 to work.
We don't even need that. Oh, you're talking about gaming on Twitch. I'm talking about our show should just be on Twitch.
Oh, I feel like that's easy enough.
Yeah, we should do that. Talk to the higher-ups. No, a lot of the streamers are on there, but watching it's just on YouTube. They had an exclusivity deal. It was a whole mess of soft scene. But you're right. Like one of my favorite things to watch is that. And if it made its way to a streaming platform that I had to pay money for, I would. Ooh, that reminds me. I had to cancel Netflix, or I had to cancel NFL Plus. Good reminder. There you go. Great stuff in the morning update. Let's get over Bobby Marks' regular season trade deadline preview for the Eastern Conference. So I scroll down to the Cleveland Cavaliers. And how Bobby laid it out was this. Number one, The trade meter. On a scale of 1 to 10, what does he feel like the team will make a trade? What to watch for, assets, front office trade history, and their last regular season trade, and then he does give a trade that he would like to see for the Cleveland Cavaliers. So number one, trade meter for the Cavs on a 1 to 10, he gives it a 4. So not likely is what he feels. What to watch, Craig Porter, buyout players, and Donovan Mitchell. The injuries and underachieving had the non-Cavs team's executives asking if it was time for the Cavs to be proactive and start fielding calls on Donovan Mitchell. But the four-time All-Star bypassed signing his extension this past offseason, and can be an unrestricted free agent in 2025. But he's also eligible to sign a 4-year, $200 million extension starting on July 6th. Considering how much the Cavs gave up to trade for Mitchell, 3 unprotected picks and pick swaps and multiple players, exploring trade offers is now premature, and any conversation regarding his future should be pushed to the offseason. Ricky Rubio's retirement and buyout has given the Cavs some flexibility to sign 2 players and remain below the luxury tax. One of those players should be Craig Porter. He scored double-digit points in 8 games. He's on a 2-way deal. They're going to have to convert him to a full contract once he plays in his games. And Cleveland could give up 3.6 of its non-taxpayer mid-level exception available and can sign Porter for up to 4 seasons. Unless the Cavs want to take offers for Isaac Okoro or Dean Wade, their trade options are limited. We can't trade a first. We only have 2 seconds. And it goes 12 deep on its roster. The only 2 players with non-rotational minutes are Damon Jones and Ty Jerome, and Ty Jerome's been out since October with an ankle injury. Front office trade history. Last season, Kobe Altman didn't make an in-season trade. Prior to that, Karis LeVert, Jared Allen, all that. The last regular season trade, I should say, was in February of 2022 when we traded Ricky Rubio, who was injured, and a top 14 protected pick for Karis LeVert. What Bobby Marks would like to see the Cavs do? Damon Jones, 2 seconds to Memphis for Xavier Tillman. Tillman's a 6'7" wing, averaging 6 points, 4.7 rebounds per game this year. He's only shooting 22% from behind the arc, but he only shoots about 1 3 a game. So he's not a 3-point guy. Really by any mark. Tillman, I think, would be interesting. Don't really know much about him, but that's Bobby Marks' move there. No trade exemptions, and we only have 5.9 available in cash, and we talked about the draft assets. So the way Bobby Marks looks at it is this. They're probably not going to make a trade, and if they do, it's going to be a low-level one for a guy like Xavier Tillman. So you buy into it for what it is. I'm not expecting the Cavs to make any moves. And it kind of goes back to how I viewed this team throughout this run. Your team is your team. And I felt better about the construction of this team as it's gone on. So I feel better about where they're at entering the playoffs. I'm still realistic on what I'm asking for and what I'm looking for, but I feel better about where the Cavs are at. No moves to be made. You got the team that you got. We'll see how it goes. All right, let's catch a break. We'll get into Time Hop when we return. We'll wrap up our 2 for Tuesday. We'll talk ice skating and the bracket. The bracket of your favorite soup. What would be 4 openings left?
3.
Going to fill it out. You got a last-second request. Ryan Tyler 33, at Matt Fontana 83. Your favorite type of soup. Not location, but type of soup. Tweet it. We'll get it in. We'll get to the bracket. Wrap things up. We'll do it next. Time Up comes your way next, though. Let's jump back the 23rd of January, and it's kind of funny that is the 23rd day of the month because I start with LeBron James. In Time Hop, we go back, tell you what happened this day in history, including LeBron. This day, 6 years ago, 2018, he scored his 30,000th point. Now, at that time, that moved him into 8th all-time passing Shaq. Of course, LeBron now has the record. He's actually close to getting 40,000 in his career. He'll finish with more than that. A record that will never, ever, 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 ever be touched. I know people said that about Wilt. I know that. But the thing is, Ryan, he's probably going to finish out with 4,000 more points than Wilt.
Yeah, it won't get touched.
If not more. How many in the top 10 all-time scoring could you name?
Probably all of them.
All right. I'll put you on that. We already got a dinner bet on something.
Oh, yeah. You owe me dinner.
I think I do.
It was Bucks and Eagles.
Yeah, that's right. I think I do. Yeah.
Thanks for reminding me.
You're reminded of that. All right. I'll bet you a beverage when we go out to dinner.
Okay.
If you got to get all 10. Okay. You ready?
Okay, yep.
All right.
1 LeBron.
Okay, yeah. You don't have to go in order either, but
I'll try that.
Okay.
2 Kareem. 3 Karl Malone.
correct.
All right, maybe I can't go in order.
That's fine.
Kobe.
He is in order. He's 4.
Michael.
5, also in order.
Dirk.
Yeah, and also in order.
Come on, Ryan. Wilt.
Okay, also in order at 7. Well done. So you need 8, 9, and
Shaq.
10. Shaq is 8.
Am I still in order?
Yeah, you're still in order. By the way, there's
shit.
2 left. 9 and 10. That's it. That's it. That's it.
It's not Moses, is it, Malone?
This is for a beverage,
Okay.
man. So I got it.
Okay.
You give me your final answer. I'll tell you that.
Okay.
You tell me when it's your final.
Then
answer.
not Moses. Who the hell am I? I know there's. No way it's Magic. I don't think he played long enough. Oh, I don't know if I'm gonna get these last 2. That sucks. I got 8 in a row. Oh. Tim Duncan's got to be in there. No.
No, he's 16.
I guess I'll just throw Moses in there, and then the last name is Bill Russell.
No. 2 much more recent guys.
Oh.
9.
Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant is 10.
And 9. Steph. No?
No.
Really?
Nope. Steph's not even in the top 25.
Oh, he's got plenty of years. Is he still playing?
No.
No.
No. Semi-recently retired, like not like last year or anything like that, but
Steve Nash?
no. Goes down as probably, people would say he's probably the best player to never win a ring.
Oh, wait, no, that's not recent. Carmelo Anthony.
Carmelo Anthony is
That was
correct.
solid.
I would think we were pretty good.
Yeah.
Still beverage. It'll be an old fashioned. Write that down.
All right.
I will be upgrading that. But no,
I'm proud of myself. 8 out of 10.
and especially you went in order on the 8. LeBron, Kareem, Karl, Kobe, Jordan, Dirk, Wilt. I thought Shaq might throw you off, but he was there, and then Carmelo and Durant are the ones.
Yeah,
for the
that was
top
the
10.
problem. They were too recent.
Yep, there it is. Other active players: Durant is 10, James Harden is 22. Who is the 4th leading scorer in NBA history that is active behind LeBron, Durant, and James Harden?
And it's not Curry?
No.
Russell Westbrook?
Yes. Well done. Yes, it is Russell Westbrook. That is very, very correct on that. So well done. Again, 6 years ago today, LeBron scored his 30,000th point. This day, 2016, Ty Lue held his first press conference as the head coach of the Cleveland Cavs. Of course, David Blatt, Fred the day prior. This day, 2014, Mike Pettin hired as the Browns head coach.
It was a fun 2 years.
Was not maybe the first choice. I look back on Mike Pettin so differently now about dealing with Manziel, dealing with all the craziness that it was. But yes, Mike Pettin hired this day, 2014. A very important day for the Rock Hall, which is near where we're at here down in Burke. First ever Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee class. Elvis Presley, Chuck Berry, Fats Domino, Buddy Holly, the Everly Brothers, Little Richard, Ray Charles, and James Brown are all the first inductee class in 1986, this day in history for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. This day, 1984, speaking of wrestling, Hulk Hogan beat the Iron Sheik for the WWF Championship at Madison Square Garden. That was his first championship and ignited what we now know today as Hulkamania. Again, I'm not a wrestling person anymore, but as far as my Mount Rushmore of guys, Hulk, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and probably Ric Flair. He's a Michigan fan, so it really kind of hurts me at this point. But those would probably be it. Again, and I'll say this to the nth degree, and for my money of when I watched, The Rock is the greatest professional wrestler of all time.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and I know Hogan and Andre the Giant and all that other kinds. And I'm far from a historian. I'm far from even a wrestling fan. But just for my money, that's what it is. This day, 1962, both Jackie Robinson and Bob Feller were elected to Cooperstown in the Hall of Fame. I feel like that has just become such a, it's sad to see the state of baseball Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? Because all it is people bitching about the steroid guys, people filling, and then now everybody's got to put their ballot out because God forbid you didn't give Derek Jeter all the votes. Derek Jeter is the most overrated player in history of any sport ever.
Yeah.
Ever. I'm not saying he shouldn't have been a Hall of Famer, but he should not have been a unanimous, and he wasn't. Okay.
Yeah, I have a buddy who's been on that train for years.
Dude, he's overrated as hell. He really is. Again, I'm saying he's good, but people hold him in the same regard as some of the greatest players of all time, and he's just not. There's no way. But now it's become a dog and pony show about, here's my ballot and who made this and who made that. It's sad. It's sad Cooperstown right now of what it is. This day, 1957, Whammo produced the first Frisbee. I don't get Frisbee golf. I understand it, but I don't get it.
I've never played it, but it seems fun.
I guess. I got nothing for it. I really don't.
It's easier than golf.
It's easier than regular golf, sure, but disc golf, Frisbee, it is what it is. This day, 1953, the Dallas Texans left to become what NFL franchise? Here's a great trivia question for you.
Say it again.
So 1953, the Dallas Texans left to become this franchise. Now, here's your hint. This franchise also left where they went, and they are now in another place, but they have the same name today. Not the Texans.
The Raiders?
No. Good guess, though.
Chargers?
No.
The Colts?
Colts are correct. So the Colts were where before Indianapolis?
Baltimore.
So the Dallas Texans left this day, 1953, to become the Baltimore Colts. And then, of course, we know the Baltimore Colts left to go to Indianapolis, and they are there today. This day, 1929, the Yankees became the first team to put numbers on the back of their jerseys. Baseball's don't really need the numbers. You know who they are, and walk up, line up card, all that kind of stuff, but it is what it is. Very happy birthday goes out to Browns legend Phil Dawson. Happy birthday, Phil.
Happy birthday, bro.
Found hopefully a semi-replacement for you and Dustin Hopkins. Oh, Browns legend Eric Metcalf. Metcalf up the middle celebrating a birthday today. Former Cavalier Larry Hughes. Remember Jeff Samardzija?
Yeah.
People thought he'd be like a
That's
first-round
name I
wide
haven't heard in
receiver
a while.
and a pitcher. It's his birthday today. Dude, he made the right call. You want to know why? He signed an $80 million deals as starting pitcher in baseball.
Baseball's the way to go.
Oh,
You wanna get
always
paid.
over that. Always over that. Former Ohio State Buckeye, Kata Bates-Diop, Tiffany Thiessen of Saved by the Bell fame, and John Hancock. Not that John Hancock, Herbie Hancock, all celebrating birthdays today. All right, 3 for you today. 2 television shows and a movie. All right? So we start with this day, 2003. One of the legacy shows on the Discovery Channel.
Oh, so it's a TV show, this one.
TV show. I'm sorry, I say movie? TV show. Sorry, TV show. This day, 2003. A legacy show on the Discovery Channel where 2 friends, they test a lot of theories.
Mythbusters.
Mythbusters is correct, yes.
That was a classic in physics
Like the
class.
old school ones are great. Obviously, eventually it all kind of jumps the shark, but Mythbusters, and then they went on like that world tour, and my dad was set up at the convention center for them.
What was like the shows when you were growing up in science class? Like we always watched Mythbusters.
Yeah.
Bill Nye.
Bill Nye the Science Guy was
and
big.
like Brain Pop.
I remember Brain Pop. Yeah. I mean, I can't like. It was always like a PBS documentary and stuff like that. Like the watching of they all roll in the AV cart and then you're all excited because you can just sleep in class while you watch a movie or something like that. The one thing that always stands out to me was when I was in 6th or 7th grade, our science teacher, we were talking about volcanoes. So he had us watch the movie Dante's Peak with Pierce Brosnan. Not a great flick, but you learned a little bit about. I was like, it really has nothing to do with volcanoes, but I think it was a way for him to kind of use 2 days up, I guess, to watch a movie about volcanoes, but it is what it is. So, yes, Mythbusters, this day, 2003. All right, this one might be the hardest one for you. A film that came out this day, 1998. This movie was very heavily influenced. How? It gives it away, I guess. This is a British musical comedy film which stars a very popular group of that era.
99, you said?
1998. The movie came out in 1998.
British.
Very popular group at the time.
In 1990.
The late 1990s. This group was all over. They were a very popular musical act, and they made a movie.
Popular in 98, so that's like, is that a little bit too late for Nirvana?
Yes, Kurt Cobain was dead, I think, by then.
I don't think I'm going to get it.
Not that type of group at all. It's a musical group, but not that type
Red
of
Hot
music.
Chili Peppers?
No.
Green Day?
If I said scary and sporty,
and
posh,
Spice Girls.
Spice World came out this day.
Okay.
Did you even know that they made a movie?
I did not know.
Did not. Yeah. This day, 1998, Spice World hit theaters there with the Spice Girls. Final one, a television show. This day, 1983, a rogue team of former military men go on missions to help people.
The A-Team?
The A-Team is correct. Well done.
Nice.
Mr. T, yes.
What
Hannibal Smith.
What was the one? What were their names?
Well,
Murdoch, is that one?
Murdoch,
Yeah.
Howling Mad Murdoch was the pilot, and then you had Face, and then you had
Pity the Fool.
Yeah, of course, Mr. T, B.A. Baraska. Did you watch the movie with Liam Neeson, Bradley Cooper?
No. Or I might have, but it was a while ago.
I wanted it to be so good. I mean, again, the casting was great. You had Liam Neeson as Hannibal Smith. You got Quentin Rampage Jackson to play B.A. You had Bradley Cooper in it. And then you had, oh, God, what was the name that played Murdoch? Oh, man. The South African actor. Really good. Anyway, the movie wasn't that bad. Charlotte Copley. That's who that was. Jessica Biel was in that movie. Good. I wanted it to be so good, but it was actually so horribly bad.
Jessica Biel, got to be top 5 underrated
actresses?
Hot actresses.
Oh, hot, yeah. Yeah, she's up there. She's very attractive. Very attractive. My wife's a big Justin Timberlake fan, so,
what were they? Did they date?
They're married.
Oh, they're
still married.
They're still married?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
They had a little hiccup 2 years ago, and there's a video of Justin Timberlake walking with another, holding the hand of one of his co-stars, and everybody freaked out. But
I didn't know they were married.
Oh, yeah, they're married. They got a couple kids. Yeah.
Oh, wait, I don't even think I'm thinking of Jessica. No.
You're just thinking Jessica Alba.
I'm thinking Jessica Alba.
You're thinking Jessica Alba. That's why.
Oh, yeah.
I have no idea who she's married to or what she's doing.
Yeah, I take back what I said.
Jessica Alba. I feel like Jessica Biel's hot.
She is, but she's not Jessica Alba hot.
What has Jessica Alba even done? I do the only.
She hasn't done anything in a while.
The only thing I can think
Fantastic Four.
That and then that Into the Blue movie.
She was an Entourage.
Oh, I didn't watch it. I didn't even finish
an episode of it.
Yeah. I can't even tell you a movie that she was in. Fantastic. Okay, again, outside of Fantastic Four and Into the Blue, that's it. Those are the only Jessica Alba movies I know. So there it is. A little bit of time, huh? All right, you want to get to it? Our bracket of the week. We got to fill it out though. We got to finish it up.
Well,
right?
I kind of finished it out.
All right,
good.
good. Let's jump into it. Folks, in honor of the season, we will do your favorite soup. So there it is. Ryan, run through it, please, for everybody.
Alrighty, Group 1 and 2 going today. Group 1, one-seeded lobster bisque, broccoli
heavy
cheddar,
favorite. Oh, I love broccoli
corn
cheddar.
chowder,
Very
and
good.
split pea rounds out Group 1. Group 2, number 1 seed, of course, chicken noodle,
Okay.
Italian wedding, butternut squash,
Not a fan.
rounded out with chunky vegetable. And then Group 3, French onion, minestrone, chicken tortilla, I spelled that wrong.
Very good.
Miso.
Oh,
Group 4,
man, I'm glad you put miso in there. I do love me a good miso soup. Yes.
Group 4, clam chowder,
No.
tomato,
Yeah, very good.
zuppa toscana,
A lot of heavy influence on that early in the
and lentil.
All right. So there you go. So we'll put groups 1 and 2 out tonight at Matt Fontana's show. Vote on that, and we'll reset the bracket tomorrow as we go on. Really, wrap things up for the Cavs. Our question this morning on a 2 for Tuesday, are you concerned about the Cavs when Evan Mobley and Darius Garland return? Still 50-50 on that result. And our second one, do you know how to ice skate? 67-33. People say no. I feel like Ohio, I mean, it's probably not as low as some other states, but like Michigan, I feel like there's a lot of hockey players in Michigan. You're closer to Canada, Ohio, I guess there's not too many opportunities to ice skate. I know a lot of people that ice fish. They do that. I know more people that ice fish than ice skate.
This is a stat from Statista.
I'm sure
the
that's
number of
legit.
ice skating participants in the U.S. aged 6 years and older amounted to approximately 9.5 million in 2021, down from around 9.9 million.
Oh, that's sad. We got to get the ice skating up, man. Got to get the ice skating up. The thing is, ice skating, like when I was growing up, Brunswick didn't even have a hockey team. I'm not saying I would have ever played, but like there's very few high school. I know a lot of Parma, all the Parma schools do. And then you have Ads and Ignatius, and a lot of those play the big ones as well. But yeah, I was just wondering because the weather, my son keeps asking to go. I did somebody, let me see if I can find it here real quick. Kyle tweeted me, and he said, Matt, if you know how to rollerblade, you should be fine with your son going out. Because I was talking about this earlier. My son really wants to go ice skating. And I want to go, but I don't want to fall on my ass and make me look like a jackass. And I said, I know how to rollerblade. Now, granted, I have not rollerbladed in years, but I'm assuming it's like riding a bike. If you did it when you were a kid, you probably should be able to do it now. And I was worried about just taking him out there so he could get used to it. And Kyle said, don't worry about it. You'll be fine. Just go slow. He's not going to go very fast. And then I mentioned having like the traffic cone or like something to hang on to while I go. I'm sure it'll be fine. I'll take him up to Winterhurst eventually.
Did you ever see the movie I, Tonya?
No, I again, I know of it. I've heard of it.
I thought it was really good.
Really good. Figure skating is the one thing that is just absolutely
Have you
incredible.
seen Blades of Glory?
I have seen Blades of Glory, yes. That I have seen. Not too many figure skating movies out there. You know what? Damn, that's a good bracket of your favorite hockey movie. It's either The Mighty Ducks or Miracle. Can you name me another hockey movie?
I haven't seen either of those. So.
What? Oh, that's right. You haven't seen the Mighty Ducks trilogy.
Hockey just doesn't do it for me.
I know.
Doesn't interest me.
Here's the thing. I like the Jackets, but I don't like. I'll tell you this. Going to a hockey game as a fan is one of the best fan experiences you can have because you never know when they're going to score the goal. It's action nonstop. You're up and down. And also, in general, it's a pretty easy sport to know the rules. And the only thing you really got to watch for as a fan is what's called offsides. So, you know, the blue lines in the middle? You have the puck.
I've been having people try to explain to me for years. I still don't understand offsides in soccer, and I'm just convinced I never will.
So soccer,
I get it. Like
that, I had to pick up.
It doesn't
because
make sense to me.
So when I was doing a job in my early 20s, I was calling actually a lot of hockey and baseball and basketball and football and wrestling for the Parma City School District. So then eventually they were going, hey, we need somebody to kind of help out with soccer. And I said the same thing. I was like, I have no idea what soccer is.
Like, so why can't you just, as a defender, then just...
So then there was a team and a game I called where they did an offside trap the whole game, and it kind of made sense. Where the story is that you cannot have one of your defenders you're on the offense. We're on the offensive team. One of our players can't run past the defenders until the ball is kicked. So if I'm just dribbling the ball, you can't run past any defenders. But if I kick the ball in the air, you're allowed to go after it.
Okay.
Does that kind of make sense?
That kind of makes sense.
So imagine, like, offsides on hockey is you can't go past the blue line without the puck, right? If your team is in control of the puck. Imagine the blue line in hockey
like
is the defender line in soccer, and then that just moves. That's probably a horrible explanation.
No, I kind of got it.
No, I'm sure it might be. I'm probably wrong on my explanation of soccer offsides, and I'll get a tweet about it. But to my understanding, and again, I don't watch soccer, so that's probably why it's wrong. That is my understanding of what offsides is in soccer. Hockey's easy. There's blue lines, they don't move. The puck has to cross the blue line before you cross the blue line. That's it.
I got you.
I think soccer is the same thing, but the line is the defenders. That you kind of, because that's the person on the side with the flag, they're supposed to move with it. So that way you're supposed to look and see where the side person is. And that's supposed to tell you where the offside line is.
If you could pick one like activity that may not even be considered a sport, but you could make it like pro, so you would have the chance to go pro, like what would you pick?
I mean, the thing is, like, what
I'm talking like darts, cornhole.
But the thing is, it's all pro.
Croquet.
You see that darts kid? That 16-year-old kid that's lighting up in darts?
No.
Oh, Google him. Lance Luke something. I don't remember. He's 16 years old and he's decimating the dart world.
I'll look up 16-year-old dart phenomenon.
Do it. I'm sure he's going to pull it up. His name's Lance or something like that. Luke. His name's Luke. Something Luke.
It is Luke Littler.
That guy. He's 16. Destroying it. What was that look?
He looks like he's 30.
Apparently he's 16. I mean,
bro, it looks like in bench warmers. I am 12.
Oh, yeah, I mean, he's doing darts. But like pool, right? There's professional snooker. You ever watch that?
Oh, that kid is not 16.
I 16. I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, it says he is.
I know. That's what I'm just saying.
Have you seen him?
Oh, yeah, I've seen him. Yeah, I know. He's 16. I don't want to tell you. He's a dart phenom. You can go pro in anything, though. Like you said, cornhole, darts. Are you good at bar games? Like when you go to the bar with your buddies, you play pool or darts?
I'm really good at pool.
I suck. My brother is a really good pool player. I'm not good at dart. I am trash at pool. I am so bad at pool. I'm okay at bowling. It's not necessarily a bar activity, things like that. But yeah, I mean, you can go pro in anything now. Video games. Don't I know that?
Do you think? What if your son wanted to get into fencing? Is that too dangerous?
The thing is, with the niche sports, I feel like niche sports get really expensive. Like, fencing is probably expensive.
It's like golf, kind of.
Equestrian things.
Yeah.
And you know how I feel about horses. I think horses are weird. I don't like horses.
What?
I know, there's something about horses. So, like polo, water polo. It's kind of knit. Now, water polo, all you got to do is get in a pool with a ball. That's easy.
It sounds really rich and white.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's other I don't know. Because the other thing is, and I tell you this, and I'm sure there's parents out there that feel the same way. I actually very much look forward to the days that, Saturday morning, we're waking up at 4:45 because we got an hour drive to get to this tournament, to get to this golf match. Like,
you say that now.
No, I really do. I really look forward to those days because my dad did that for me. My dad was up at the butt crack of dawn with us to go to wrestling tournaments and to drive everywhere when I was playing college football. Like, I really do look forward to those days. So as long as they do it, but then the thing is, if he plays football or wrestles, I can help him with that. I played those sports. I can show you how to hit a pitching wedge. I can help you on what to do with a curveball. Fencing, I'm out. I got nothing. So then I would be completely dependent on the coaches to get them up to a level. And I'd never be one of those parents that I'm like, my kid's got to be the star. I don't really care. But at least if it's another sport like that, I can help them out with it.
Just wait till
fencing, darts, pool. I got nothing.
Wait till your son plays fall ball. You have to wake up at the ass crack of dawn on Sundays for a doubleheader and miss the Browns game.
I kind of look forward to it. I'll look forward to those days. I mean, I think it's a part of having kids, right? Like, and whatever sport they want to do or whatever sport they don't want, I'll drive an hour for a recital.
Got
to wake up in the morning.
Fishing.
You don't know my brothers, man.
They big fishers?
No idea. They're sending texts in our group about going ice fishing today. The ice is melting, and they go, well, we got one more day.
Like that and hunting, it doesn't do it for me.
If you knew the Fontana boys. I don't hunt, but I fish. So, yes, he will be already inundated with that. He's already got the life preserver. We already got the boat. He's going out this year. We'll see. All right, we got to go. Tuesday night coming up. welcome. Enter the Jungle, James Rapine tonight, but also Josh and Maria Cribbs all across the big play. We appreciate your support. We'll talk to you in a Wednesday edition. Bracket out. We're good to go. Got everything?
We'll be good to go.
There it is. All right. For Ryan Tyler, I'm Matt Fontana. As always, take it easy.